I'd much rather hear what's in your heart than what's going on
I
in your
love you with all my head are not words we hear coming out of people's mouths because we don't love with our heads. We love with our hearts. People buy through their emotions. You can put all the logic out there, and at the end of the day, you're going to go with your emotion.
Oh my gosh, now I'm going to, well, I can see we need to take a quick break. We've mentioned Marshall Rosenberg, and we're going to have something that's really important that we forget about a lot as we're caught up so many times in our own thinking or pain. This is going to be a clip on empathy, very powerful.
Who's got one for us? What was the original message?
Stay away, you jerk, you're bad for me.
Stay away, you jerk, you're bad for me. Okay, now what do you say back?
Are you feeling angry and needing to be alone?
Boy, you confused this poor jackal. He wasn't expecting that. See, the giraffe ears keep our attention even when we're silent. We still have our attention on the feelings and needs. So what feelings and needs are behind the message? Look, don't pull that psychology crap on me.
Well, they're angry.
Perhaps. We don't know. See, be careful about ever making these statements in a declarative way, like they are. But I would guess that the person might be angry. And what might the need be behind this statement, don't pull that psychology crap on me? Pardon? That's it, but don't manipulate me is not a need. That's a diagnosis, manipulate. See, but what would be the need behind don't manipulate me? What would the person be needing if they were thinking that we were manipulating them?
They would need to know that I'm the same human as
They have a need for equality, to be treated equally, not to be treated like they're a patient being interviewed by a psychotherapist or a student being questioned by a... Yeah, so the person has a need for equality. Now, if a person sees in your eyes what will be there, if that's where your attention is, your attention is on they're perhaps angry because they have a need for equality that isn't being met. That's very powerful, even if you say not a word. But if you hear that as an attack, you will have different eyes. Whatever you say next will come out of a different energy if you hear any criticism in that. Okay? Some others. Yes?
My original statement was, don't be ridiculous, I'm fine.
Don't be ridiculous, I'm fine.
So my answer to that response would be, are you worried because you're needing more respect for your privacy?
Yes, and you have no respect for anybody's privacy, You just come barging into everybody, and I'm not the only one that thinks that about you either.
So it irritates you when I question.
No. Never connect yourself with the other person's pain. See, it irritates you when right into the jackal's jaws when you do that. You see. So let's do it again and get that poor baby giraffe out of that jackal's jaws. Try it again.
I'm feeling irritated.
Because? See, as soon as your attention is on the other person's needs, but don't say you need me to, because then the baby goes right back into the jaws. See, so you need what? What is the person needing?
Safety.
Yes, whatever. We don't have to guess right, but we have to sincerely try to guess what the need is that's in there. Okay, some others. Yes.
My original one was relax, I heard you the first time.
Relax, I heard you the first time.
So when I remind you to do the lawn, are you feeling frustrated because you need autonomy? I couldn't think of what the need is.
I think that's pretty close. Relax, I heard you the first time. I would guess autonomy. But notice, we don't have to guess right. We have to be sincerely wanting to connect with the need. That's all. That's the intent is what's important. Not that we guess right, but that we be sincerely interested in connecting with the person's needs. Yeah, you treat me like, I'm stupid, I don't hear things, and like, you just have to get everything done right away. I mean, the world isn't going to come to an end if the grass doesn't get cut today. See, there's no but in a giraffe empathy. If you really are trying to empathize, you don't say but, you say, so you're really annoyed and really want to do things when you choose to do it? Is that what you're saying? Yes. Yeah. And I'd like to know how I could let you know that it's important for me that it be done now without this sounding like a demand. Could you tell me that? Huh? I mean, if it's really important to me now, I have a need for some order, some beauty in our lawn, and I've been waiting for this, and it's not done, I'd like it now. How can I say that without you hearing that I don't value your autonomy? I don't know. Well, I'm glad we're talking about this, because this little dynamic goes on between us. I've been doing some research 312 times a day on the average. Accurate? Or maybe, yeah, but, yeah. I've been to mine. I've been to mine. Several of you have heard me say what happened in a similar encounter with my youngest son one day when I said, would you please hang up your coat? And he said, who was your slave before I was born? I mean, yes, I've been there,
I really appreciate what Marshall has to say. Every time he speaks, I get more depth out of that. I hope you do. And empathy is so important to really stay with the other person that's expressing. It seems like we're not as quick to listen as perhaps it would be nice to go ahead and do. It really lifts people up. Thank you for hearing me. It works.
It does. And when you put empathy out towards somebody, Gigi, this is another way to get out of hell.
There you go.
If you've got hell going on inside of you, walk a mile in that other person's shoes. Like I did with my father, like I was explaining, I could finally start to see what his pain was. Beyond the intellectual, I could see that his reaction was from a place of wounding and not a place of who he really was. So how else can you get out of hell? It's kind of piggybacking off of what Marshall was talking about with empathy. I call it random acts of kindness. And what I want to share with you is a story that I read this morning on Facebook. And I've got to tell you, I cried. And when I read it to somebody else, I had choking in my voice when I was reading it. So if I get choked up, do know it's because this story touches me. The title of it, which captured my attention, is Mom Can't Understand Why Son Wants More Food for Lunch. Then he tells her about the boy who sits alone. Okay, that grabbed me. Josette Duran never expected her Facebook Live video to get as big as it did. In fact, she points out in another video that the only reason she recorded herself in the first place was to share the story with family and friends. She had no intention of this going viral because she said she did what she did out of love. At the beginning of the school year, Duran's son Dylan began asking for an extra food in his lunchbox. According to KOAT, when Duran asked Dylan why he wanted more food, he explained to his mom that it was for a little boy who sits alone at lunch. Duran explains. He said, "Mom, it's for this little boy at school. He sits by himself and all he eats is a fruit cup." After learning this, Duran started packing 2 of everything in Dylan's lunch, so the little boy had more to eat than just a fruit cup. Eventually, the little boy's mom found out, and the principal called both of the moms into his office. The little boy's mom offered to pay Duran back for what she could. Duran recalls, she said, "This isn't much, but I just got a job, and I know you have been feeding my son." And here's a little note that she used to put on there, "Have a great lunch, boys." A tearful Duran refused to accept that mother's money. The girls on the volleyball team she coaches raised over $400 to help pay her back, but again, Duran refused. Instead of accepting the money, she